Okay, I guess I'm a little mad and I did not intend to be. I'm reading the text right now. Today I saw the husband of the woman who was killed by a driver the other night, right here where we live in Flower Bluff on Waldron. And the girl, I didn't know her well, and I talked a little bit about her. I'm not even positive what her name is. I thought I knew it, and I didn't ask the husband, but I talked to the husband today, Lee. Lee is kind of on the street with some of my other friends. He's got long hair, and they've known me for being around, but I've really never spoken to him that much either. But it's upset me for a few days that the girl was killed. So, I told Lee, I talked to him, one of my other friends, Albert, he even prayed over him. Mexican Albert. And I was not, and the reason I'm hesitant to speak is Lee does not know me that well, and I don't think he knows I talk about issues or any of that, but I felt like I was going to just ask Lee if he would like to just talk about as a eulogy or as a remembrance of his sweet wife. And he's walking around with the pink tennis shoe. She used to wear like pink and different colored tennis shoes, and so he's got that one with him. One of my other friends, I won't give the name, is going to give him a ride to the morgue, I guess right now, to identify the body. And he's dealing with it, and he's describing to me the accident. I don't want to get into it, but about 6 months ago, I was riding with my daughter and I saw a dog get hit, and I remember seeing the dog splattered, and that depressed me over a dog. And the way Lee has described what he saw, I was like, look, I don't want you to say it anymore. He was saying it in a way that was very graphic, and I was like, I can't. So, the reason I'll do it, I was mad. I went in HEB and I'm starting to get upset a little, because I was going to just ask him to say a few words, and I did. I said, would you like to talk a little bit about your late wife? But Lee said, I'm thinking about what I'm going to say, John, and I explained to him I do videos. Maybe the guys told him, I do these videos for Christian sites. But all he was talking about today was he's contending. Okay, now this is why I don't want to get, all of these are public, all right? But he's disputing what happened. That's why I don't want to get into this. And this is what, all I'll explain is, I don't want to do hearsay, but all he's talking about is he thinks that, he told me, I'll just tell you what he said to me. He said, John, the people didn't stop, but they drove to a store. And I didn't get into any more with him. I just let him talk. I wasn't intending to talk this way about it. But he wants to, he says, no, we need to look into it. I could imagine, I'm familiar with the laws, okay? I was a firefighter for 25 years. You have all types of laws about Good Samaritan, rendering aid, and all types of things. This is the latest. It's the 9th death by vehicle this year in Corpus Christi. And I felt that some of the different ones, maybe they focus more on because these people were more prominent, maybe less on because people were not as prominent. And I didn't even talk to Lee about it, except if he'd like to say some words about his wife. So now I lent him the phone, and I'm even more mad when I decided to do the video. He said I have to text my mother-in-law, whatever state they're in. So I had to put the number in, and I said, surely, I usually don't lend my phone out. And he did the text, and it just simply said, I'm trying to get a ride. I guess he's going back to whatever state they're from. And he says, she loves you. Talking about his wife telling the mom. And the mom texts me back, and now I'm going to have to say, look, I lent the phone to Lee. She says, thank you. And then she's asking, I just saw the text. I don't want to get the text. But did you go yet? So they're going to identify the sweet girl. some of the things that rightfully the husband's upset. He says people did not stop, but they drove to a store. I could understand if maybe you hit somebody on the highway and you're still on the highway, that you get off at the exit, and if you stop at a store and call the police and say, I just hit somebody and it's right there on the highway, they were crossing, whatever happened, I could understand how that could not be considered a hit and run, because it would possibly be very dangerous to stop on the overpass, from what I understand where it occurred. But if they stopped, they notified the police. Okay, I could understand all that. But also, I noticed sometimes just leaving a scene, even if it's you went a mile to a store, it's failure to stop and render aid. Now, that's why I don't want to get into this. Do you understand? But that's all he's talking about, that he felt like, he said maybe the people are connected. Okay, that's what he felt. If it was simply like I just explained, I could understand why there would be no citation. But it's the latest death in the city. And that's why I figured I'd mention it, because I didn't want to mention any of that. I had no idea there was any contention by the husband, all right? And then I'm seeing the texts from the mom, and now they got to go to the morgue. And even Lee, when he described it graphically to me, I didn't want to hear it, though he was explaining in graphic, and it brought back like images in my head. So I'll do it for that sake, all right? I wasn't going to make any today. And we would just ask that there's no favoritism. Our city has dealt with some of these issues, whether officers that were involved in domestic violence. The Mathis officer, he seemed to have gotten a pass on a particular way they dealt with the domestic violence. He choked out a former girlfriend, multiple times choked her, and he has, so the color times in the community are concerned in many issues about fairness. And I didn't question Lee, the husband, on any of this, all right? I just wanted him to maybe share some stories about his wife. But that's what's going through his head. That's what he's talking about today. And so I would just mention it for that reason. And actually, I wanted him, if he decided to speak, I didn't want him to speak along those lines. I just wanted him to speak along his wife, and just as a memory. All right, so that'll be the update.